Hello and welcome. My name is Angie Holden and I'm the blogger behind The Country Chic Cottage. So today we're going to talk about packaging ideas for your small business. If you don't have a small business, don't go anywhere. A lot of these will apply even if you're just packaging up some gifts to give to family and friends. So this video is sponsored by Cricut. However, all projects and opinions are my own. So let's talk about packaging for your small business. So first of all, I want to talk about broad in general packaging considerations when you're thinking about how you're going to package your items for your small business. The first thing I want you to consider is to wow your customer. You're a small business, and if you wow your customer when they open that package, they're going to think about you again and again for all of their needs when they're buying in the future. So let's wow them when they open that package. There are several ways to do that, and we're going to use our Cricut machine to do a few of those. So when we're talking about wowing them, the second thing I want you to consider is branding. Branding for your small business is going to be extremely important. You want them to know as soon as they open that package that it is from you. So that goes beyond just dropping your business card on the inside. Think about the colors you're going to use, the shape you're going to use. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to pick a color palette. I want you to pick a color palette for your small business and use that throughout your packaging, your marketing, your business's website, all the places. And I'm going to choose a shape of a heart just to generically brand my small business that I'm making up for this video. However, you could use your logo in the place of this. You could use a different shape, just anything you love and you want to use to put your stamp on this packaging is what I would recommend you choose. And then third, I'm going to have 5 ideas. Not all of those will apply to your small business, but hopefully these will be a jumping off point for you to create those small business packaging ideas that will work for you. So I'm going to use my Cricut Maker 3 for this. However, any Cricut machine will work. However, we are going to do some print and cut projects and some larger projects. I wouldn't necessarily recommend the Cricut Joy for the majority of the projects we're going to do. But otherwise, grab the Cricut machine that you have and let's take a look at the supplies we're going to use first and then how to design packaging needs for your small business right in Cricut Design Space. To make our packaging ideas, we're going to use Cricut printable vinyl. I am going to use a pen. Remember when I talked about the colors and your branding, so I'm going to pick a purple pen to align with the colors that I'm going for, but you can pick any pen that works. And then I'm going to use some cardstock. Again, I picked colors that will work with what I'm going for and the look I want. We're going to use some kraftboard. This is a sampler pack of black, brown, and white, and you can pick any of the colors on there that work with your branding. A light grip mat. I'm going to use the Cricut Maker 3. You only need the fine point blade even to cut this craft board. So any of the Cricut Explore series or Cricut Maker series will work for this project. And then otherwise we will need a printer because we are going to do some print and cut. So let's head to Design Space and take a look at designing all 5 of our projects. All right, so let's take a look at the ideas that I have. So the first project we're going to make is a box. So this would be like if you sell something small, you kind of put, box wouldn't be for packaging, but you could put a box inside of a box with earrings, necklace, that type of thing. So to get this box, I just went to images and I searched for box. And then I went to project type and picked 3D. So I chose the 3D because I did want it to be a box that I could fold. And I actually chose this one that becomes a heart at the top. Remember, I told you that I'm going for a look of hearts as an example of something that will repeat throughout all of the elements. Now you could pick a plain box and use stickers to add that element or your logo or whatever. But as you can see, there are a ton of box options and you can pick whichever one you like. Another tip is to hit the eye on any of these and do view image sets. And a lot of times there will be other boxes within the image set. So this one's called Tags, Bags, Boxes, and More is the image set. And so it would have a ton of box options within this, like here's another version with a heart if I liked that better. So pick the box you want, put it into Design Space, and then you can size it however you would like from there. Now I made mine brown. I think I'm going to do brown craft paper, and then everything else out of 2 shades of like a pink and a pink purple paper. Now the next project we're going to make is stickers. So I have inserted this heart, and all I did was search images, and we'll go back to image and we can search heart, and then you would just find whatever you liked that could be converted to a print then cut image. Once I have that and I've inserted it, so I have a little heart here, I resized it. And now that I have this in here, I went ahead and changed both layers to my brand colors. So you do that by picking this box, and you can click here to go with more advanced colors. If you have a particular color in your branding, you can put the color hex code in as well. So now that I have my colors, I'm going to pick both, and I'm going to click flatten. Now this is a print then cut image, and so I can duplicate that as many times as I would like and print a sheet of stickers and do print then cut. So now we have some stickers, and the stickers, I like stickers as part of the packaging because you can use them a variety of ways. You can use them on this box that we make. You can use them to, close some tissue paper on a larger item. So fold the tissue paper over, put a sticker on it. You can use them on the outside of the box to sort of brand that. When they get it, they recognize it's from you. You could do this flatten with your logo and do print and cut stickers of your logo. There's tons of options with stickers, so I always like including them with the branding. The next thing we're going to talk about is a care tag. So a lot of handmade items require special care, whether that's putting HTV on a shirt, vinyl on a tumbler, something on a mug. You may have special instructions for cleaning the necklace you make, something like that. So care instruction tags are something that I think are a great addition and might not be something you want to write out every time. So let's let the Cricut do the work for us. I went ahead and wrote out some instructions, and then I went to Cricut fonts and I filtered it down to writing. And then I picked a font that I liked, then made sure the style was writing. And now you can see that it looks like a writing font, and I sized it to be the dimensions of this tag. Again, I found a tag with a heart because that is the theme I want running throughout all of my packaging. And then I can put these on top of one another, locate it however I want it, pick both, and click attach. And now my Cricut machine will write on the paper and then cut out the tag around the writing. So now I have a care tag to go onto my packaging. Our fourth project is going to be a card. So I always think a handwritten thank you card is a great addition to your packaging, but making it branded is even better. So using paper in your brand colors to make this simple card that has a heart again, because all of our elements have hearts, that just adds that extra special touch. And I'll just write like thank you on the inside and put that inside my package. So all you would do to do this is click images. Again, I would do card, and to narrow it down further, I might put card heart, since I know that I want a heart. And that would pull up cards, hopefully that, have hearts or something to do with a heart, and I can choose one that I like. So I ended up with this one and insert it, resize it, and I went ahead and changed the paper colors to the paper that I'm going to be using approximately, so that I know when it comes up in Cricut Design Space here in a minute that that's what I need to use. And we can actually copy it a few times. And then for our fifth idea, what I want to encourage you to do is make your own little confetti to throw in the package. This is an amazing way to use up scraps. So I just made a couple little hearts here, and I made them the same color as this paper. And what I'm going to do is make hearts that fit around in the excess area of the paper. So that way this little confetti doesn't cost me any extra. It's the scrap paper that will be around these cards anyway, and then I can use it to throw in the package. Doesn't cost me any extra, and it's that extra special touch that people really like. So just throwing a few pieces of those hearts on top of the package will be something that they will remember. Or you could throw them inside of your box that has the heart over here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sit here and make some copies of each of these elements, and I'm going to click make it a few times. And when I click make it, I'm looking for material utilization on each of my sheets. So am I utilizing the material well? I probably use a few more hang tags, maybe a few less of the cards. And once I get the material where I'm utilizing as much of the sheet as possible, then we'll go ahead and come back and I'll show you my sheets and we'll start making our cuts. So the easiest way to get maximum material usage is going to be to divide this project up. So I showed you how to design it all together so you could get everything sized together. And then say for this sticker, I just copied it from one canvas, opened a new window, Cricut Design Space, and pasted the sticker into a second canvas. So now it's by itself, and I can click Make It, and I can just up the copies in the Project Copies area until I get a full sheet of stickers. So 45 stickers will fit on a sheet with this particular design. And then I can click Continue and send it to my printer. So now I have it printed. Now let's take a look at cutting it on our Cricut Maker 3. Alright, so now I have printable vinyl chosen as my material on my Cricut Maker 3, and I have my printable vinyl sheet that's already been printed down on the light grip mat. And now we can load our mat, and then we'll just cut our material. And now you have stickers ready for your branding and packaging for your small business. So let's move on to our next project. All right, so for the box and the tag, so I want to cut a box, but only one box will fit on a sheet of craft paper, and I wanted to talk a little bit about material utilization with this. So the hang tags could be any color because I'm going to use like a purple ink to write on them, or you could use pink ink, whatever matches your brand colors. So I added a bunch of hang tags, the care tags, to the same project as the box. And then I could cut them all from one sheet and get better material utilization. And I might have been able to squeeze one more tag on here. You could definitely add some more hearts. So I could use the hearts cut out of this tag as confetti, so I don't have to waste that. And then you could add some more hearts around this extra area as well, so you don't waste that material either. So for right now, let's click Continue and let's go ahead and make our box, and it will go ahead and cut some of the tags as well. The first thing Design Space is calling for is for the score and cut. I'm going to use the scoring stylus. You could also use the scoring wheel, and my fine point blade is in clamp B. And then I put the sheet of craft board onto a light grip mat, and then we can just load this. Then we'll just press go to start the cut. So now Design Space is asking me to change out the stylus and add the pen. And after I add my pen into clamp B, I just press go to draw. So once it's done writing, it will start the cutting process. So now that those are done, let's take a look at making our cards, as well as maybe some more tags and some confetti. All right, so here we have our final two projects, which would be like the confetti and the cards. And I've added some more of the instruction tags just to kind of fill up the sheet. So I'm going to cut the end off the sheet and use it for some more of these card fronts later, and maybe some more confetti. And then the light pink sheet, I was able to fill it up pretty good. I may be able to fit a few hearts on there, but otherwise it looks pretty good and is pretty much filled up and utilizes my material well. Just a few notes about moving things around on the mat here. So anytime you have any mat, you can click on an object and you can drag it around to a different spot. The other thing you can do is click on any object, the three dots here, and you can move that object to a different mat. So that pulls up this screen and you can choose this is the mat it's currently on, and I could move it to a different mat if I would like. The other thing I can do on any mat is hide objects. So let's say I've added like too many, or I've just decided I don't need that much confetti. I can hide any object again with those 3 buttons. So there's a few tips and tricks when optimizing your material and adding all of those different pieces to your mats to get the most out of your material and to cut as much as possible at one time. So I hope that helps. So now let's head to the Cricut Maker 3 and cut both of these. I am going to use this pink paper, is pretty dark, so I'm going to use black ink on this because I don't think the purple will show up. So let's get started. So I've loaded my black pen in clamp A and my fine point blade in clamp B, and I pick medium cardstock as my setting to cut. So I'm going to go ahead and load my mat with the first color of cardstock loaded. Now I'll just click the go button to start cutting. So then after the writing is done, then your Cricut machine will cut all of your pieces. And now that this sheet is done, I'm going to go ahead and take this off the mat, put the other color pink paper on the mat, and cut those pieces as well. This one does have some score lines, so I'm using my scoring stylus to score all the lines, and then the fine point blade will cut. Now that our final mat is cut, we can take a look at removing the pieces from the mat. As always, the best way to remove your pieces from the mat is to flip the mat over and then peel the mat back to remove your pieces. Now, for the small pieces like this confetti, it's often good to use something like this spatula to sort of get under your pieces and just push them off the mat. So now that we have all of our cut pieces, let's assemble. So first, we would want to fold the box along those score lines. And it's as easy as folding it up. And then there are little arrow pieces, and they go into the slits in the sides. And we'll just repeat for the tabs on the other side. Then once you have your little box assembled, you could add your whatever you're selling to the inside, maybe a little bit of the confetti that we cut, some of these scrap heart pieces that came out of the inside of here, your product, your jewelry, your earrings, whatever you're selling, and then you would just close up the box. And then this one folds into each other. So you just put one tab inside one another to form a heart on the top. And then what I like to do on this particular one is to use one of the print then cut heart stickers to close that box up right on the top. And that makes the box look a little bit more like the branding I have going on. And then I would add a care tag or instruction tag if I needed to. And we would want to add a handwritten thank you card. To make the handwritten thank you card, we just need to assemble the card itself. So the card has a score line to fold. Then you would just add glue to put the second piece of the card onto the front. And we could just assemble those two together, allow that to dry, sign the inside, and you would have a handmade thank you card all within a couple minutes. So here are 5 ways to personalize the packaging for your small business. So we've talked about several ways to personalize the packaging for your small business. So I hope this helps you develop a method for packaging your products that works for you and that screams your branding, your business, and what you want to convey to your customers. So I hope this gives you some ideas, gets those wheels turning about how to use your Cricut machine and even like your scraps to add something personal to your small business packaging methods. So if you have any questions about anything we've covered, please drop down in the comments section, ask away. If you liked this video, if it helped you, give us a thumbs up. If you haven't already, head on over to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button. We have videos like this every week, and trust me, you don't want to miss any of those. Thank y'all so much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.